When civilization breaks down, most people run to the exact places that get them hurt, exposed, or trapped. The safest place isn't dramatic, and almost everyone ignores it. This isn't about bunkers, forests, or going off-grid overnight. It's about where civilians actually survive when systems fail, and why our gut instinct, our panic response, pushes people toward the worst possible choices. We're trained by movies and myths to think survival is about a dramatic escape. The truth is much quieter and much closer to home. The core rule is this: safety during a collapse comes from familiarity, access, and low visibility, not isolation or distance. Repeat that: familiarity, access, low visibility. It's a framework that runs completely counter to the panicked urge to just run. Understanding this is the first step to making the right choice when everyone else is making the wrong one. So let's talk about the first and most popular wrong choice: fleeing to the woods. People choose this because of a fantasy fed by movies, by a deep-seated fear of crowds, and by this romantic idea of being a lone survivor against the elements. The reality is that the wilderness is not a sanctuary, it's an executioner. Exposure kills fast, far faster than starvation. There is no infrastructure, no 911, no clinic for a broken leg or a deep cut. You can't resupply your food, your water filter, your first aid kit. One simple injury, a sprained ankle, a nasty infection, that's it, it's over. Your grand survival plan ends right there. So here's the actionable advice. Do not plan for wilderness survival unless you already live it, unless you are a seasoned expert right now, today. Nature is a tool, a resource to be understood. It is not a refuge for the desperate. The wilderness doesn't hide you, it tests you immediately. The second wrong choice is a close cousin to the first: running to rural areas where you don't belong. People see space, they see fewer people, they buy into the self-sufficient myth of the small town or the remote farm. They think they'll be welcomed or at least ignored. They are dangerously wrong. Those areas have a very limited carrying capacity. The resources are already accounted for. More importantly, those are tight communities built on generations of trust and mutual obligation. A stranger showing up in a panic with a car full of supplies and fear in their eyes isn't seen as an asset. They are a burden, a threat, a mouth to feed, and a potential problem. You can't just arrive uninvited and expect to be absorbed. Belonging, real belonging, always beats location. Rural areas don't absorb panic migrants, they close ranks. If this is breaking prepper myths you've heard before, subscribe. This channel is about what actually keeps people alive, not fantasy plans. Now on to the third wrong choice, the one that feels official, the one that feels safe: public shelters and mass relocation. People choose this because an authority figure told them to. It provides a feeling of reassurance, and there's the primal instinct that there's safety in numbers. But this feeling is an illusion. Crowds amplify stress, they breed paranoia, they are petri dishes for disease. A simple flu can sweep through a shelter and become as deadly as any outside threat. Supplies, no matter how well stocked, always run thin, and very quickly, control replaces comfort. You give up your autonomy for a cot and a half bottle of water. Your safety is in someone else's hands, and those hands are trying to manage thousands of other terrified people. You should avoid crowds unless it is absolutely fundamentally necessary. Mass movement exponentially increases your risk. Crowds feel safe until they aren't. So if the woods, the farm, and the shelter are wrong, what's the right place? For most people, most of the time, it's where you already are. Sheltering in place works. It works because you operate in a familiar environment. You know the exits, you know the risks, you know the shortcuts. You know which neighbor's dog barks at everything and which window in your basement is drafty. This knowledge is invaluable. You also have access to all of your supplies without having to carry them on your back. And most critically, there is no travel exposure. The act of moving from one place to another is often the most dangerous part of any crisis. So the action is to harden your current location, reduce the reasons you have to leave, improve your home's insulation, secure a reliable water source, have light that doesn't depend on the grid, Stock food so you don't have to face the desperate crowds fighting over the last resources. Every single reason you don't have to leave your home is a massive survival advantage. Now, of course, there are times when you absolutely should leave. This isn't a blind dogma. Staying put only makes sense if your location is fundamentally safe. You should leave if you were given a specific official order to evacuate. You should leave if there is an immediate overwhelming threat like a fire, a flood, or a clear structural damage to your building. The rule here is critical. Move early or do not move at all. Indecision is a killer. And you must have a pre-vetted destination, not just a direction. Fleeing into the unknown is not a plan. Late movement is the most dangerous movement. And that brings us to the single biggest mistake people make. People prepare escape plans instead of stability plans. Their entire focus is on the bug-out back, the escape route, the destination, and the mountains. They plan where to run, not how to last. Survival favors those who reduce chaos, not those who chase a fantasy of safety somewhere else. When civilization falls apart, the safest place isn't hidden, it's stable. Most people will choose distance, they will choose movement, they will choose the unknown. Survivors choose familiarity, preparation, and restraint. That is why most people will choose wrong.